Hello. Welcome to Wednesday and welcome to Insights with Ivanna, a weekly broadcast designed to help you identify, embrace, and live more fully in your genius by illuminating important pieces of information that you actually already possess. All right, tonight we're going to continue with our series on limiting beliefs, so please say hello if you have joined me. There are so many paths that we can take to talk about limiting beliefs that I still have not determined the number of episodes for this topic. Typically, I have a series and I tell you how many episodes, but there's so much to do in this one that I just don't want to limit myself. Hi, Jody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hi, Krista. So glad to have you guys here to talk about overcoming our limiting beliefs. So I am Ivanna, the founder and chief luminary officer of Luminary Insights, an intuitive life coaching brand and international best-selling author in Women Who Shine. So I am excited to continue exploring our limiting beliefs with you guys tonight, exploring their origins. Where do they come from? We could probably do 5 weeks just on this alone. So over the last 2 weeks, we've talked about some of the limiting beliefs we each have and what areas of our lives they've impacted the most. So what did you discover about yourself? Type in the chat box where the limiting beliefs are the strongest. So in case you were not here or you don't remember what the list of those limiting belief areas could be, I'm going to put them in the chat box right now. So we have that list for financial, health and fitness, personal development, etc. And so for me, when I just asked that question, I perceived that my greatest need is in the area of health and wellness, that's where my strongest limiting beliefs are. And then when we went to the Wheel of Life, I confirmed that, as you can see, that is my lowest number, a 3, for my health and wellness. So the Wheel of Life really confirmed that for me. So I'm going to put in the chat box the link to the Wheel of Life. It is a Google Doc. It will ask you to copy it, and I understand that some of you had trouble getting access to the document, so I'm working on another way to provide that. I'll try to find a way to just put it on the website maybe. If you don't have a Google account and you don't mind signing up for one, go ahead. Otherwise, I will be glad to try to figure out another way to do it. And so for me, I love the Wheel of Life because it is dynamic. It changes as my reality changes. I can go back in at any time and update my numbers. I didn't color everything in because I wanted to be able to put where my numbers change. And sometimes if I color it, maybe something drops. It's not as easy to see. But feel free to be as colorful as you want to be with your Wheel of Life. Again, I feel weakest in health and fitness. I know what to do. Now I just got to do it. And I'm looking forward to seeing how those numbers increase as I take the steps to actually do it. So then you say, but Ivanna, why haven't you done it yet? Yeah, I ask myself that a lot too. That's where those limiting beliefs come in. Remember why it's so hard for people to change? Because it's uncomfortable. Those of you who weren't with us last time, we talked about where do you automatically put your thumb. For most people, it's going to be the same every time. You have a dominant. If you switch them all and put the other thumb on top, it feels a little uncomfortable. But as we discovered, as you hold it that way, it becomes more comfortable. So it's uncomfortable to break out of our limiting beliefs because most of us have had them for a really long time, often since childhood. But we know that our limiting beliefs can develop any time in our lives. But the good news is you have the power to change those limiting beliefs. So again, say hi if you're here because I'm going to switch it up a little bit tonight. And instead of doing our exercise at the end, we're going to do our exercise now near the beginning in order to help us really drive home the point so that when we get to the action steps, you'll already have that feeling and that understanding of where I'm trying to go. All right, so for this activity, you're going to want to stand up and you're going to want to clear some area because you're going to be moving around. So as you're able, please stand up and clear a little bit of space. I apologize for the light. I couldn't figure out a way to do this without the light. All right. This exercise is going to really help us see how our thoughts impact our actions. So maybe you believe that's true, maybe you don't, but please play along. All right, before I start, what I want you to do is pick whether or not you're going to be in Group A or Group B. So just pick Group A or Group B. Type it in the chat box if you will. Are you going to be Group A or Group B? And then don't change it, just because maybe you like what the other group's doing better, so don't change it. Let's see in the chat box who picked Group A, who picked Group B. Okay, Jody's a group B. Anybody else want to tell you what your group is? I'm going to do both groups, but whether you're watching this live or whether you're watching this later, maybe you want to watch it again and try doing the other group. So, if you are group A, all right, both of you are group B. I'm going to go ahead and do group A. We've got a third person online. Antoinette, hello, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are doing our activity early today instead of at the end. And if you're driving, this will be hard for you to do. But if you are where you can actually stand up, then I would love for you to stand up. So you can pick group A or group B. And we're going to do an activity that helps us see how our thoughts impact our actions. All right, so if you're group B, just listen. If you are group A, I want you to close your eyes. And in your imagination, I want you to think about being a seagull. A seagull that's just flying all around, gracefully through the air. See it in your mind's eye. It's gentle, it's easy, it's effortless. All right, once you've got that picture in your mind, picture that seagull. I want you to open your eyes just enough that you can see what's around you so you don't knock anything over. And then I want you to start acting like a seagull. So you're actually going to move around and feel that effortlessness. I know I look crazy, you probably do too. But with your eyes barely open, just feel the wind underneath you. Feel how you're just soaring easily and calmly through the air. You can make little seagull noises if you want to. All right, so just really get that feeling. Imagine it. Think like a seagull. See it in your mind's eye. All right, if you're group A, you can stop and sit tight for just a second. I know I've got some group Bs with me, so group B. I want you to close your eyes, and you're going to imagine being a jackhammer. You know, that handheld machine that goes up and down, boom, 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 and it's got the compressed air, and it breaks things up on the pavement. So, in your mind, see that jackhammer bouncing up and down. See it breaking things, that staccato-ness, that jerky motion. You can hear the noise in your mind's eye. Once you've got that picture of that jackhammer, open your eyes just enough that you're not going to run into anything or anybody else if they're in the room. And I want you to move like a jackhammer. So you might be jumping up and down. You're moving quickly. You're bouncing all over the place. So be a jackhammer. Feel it, see it, be it. Jackhammer all over for just a few seconds. I'm shaking the whole house, I think, jumping up and down, being my jackhammer. All right, so seagulls, group A, you have that feeling in your mind of just floating and gentleness. And jackhammers, you've got that feeling of that frenetic energy and that jumping up and down and that pushing and that just going so quickly. Now, here's what we're going to do. If you are group A, if you are my seagull, you are going to close your eyes again and go back into that state of being the seagull. You're just going to imagine being that seagull, feel it, think about it, and while you're vividly being that seagull, I want you to move like a jackhammer. So if you're the seagull, you're thinking seagull, thinking move smoothly, but move like a jackhammer. And group B, you are going to have that jackhammer in your mind, that frenetic energy, that staccato movement, but once you've got that fully in your mind, I want you to move like a seagull. So group B, you're thinking jackhammer, and you're moving like a seagull. Group A, you're thinking seagull, but you're moving like a jackhammer. So let me see, I'm going to be seagull in my thoughts and try to move like a jackhammer. Okay, you're probably thinking I'm crazy and you're crazy, but you can stop whatever you're doing, jackhammering or seagulling. And I don't know, because you probably weren't looking at me, but for me, when I was trying to think seagull and move jackhammer, I was like this bouncy thing that was floating through the air. I couldn't do them both. So tell me about your experience. If you were group B and you were a jackhammer, and I know some of you were group B, if you were a jackhammer, what happened when you tried to move like a seagull? Was it easy? Were you able to do it? When you had one image in your mind and your body was trying to do the opposite, how did you feel? What happened? I'm going to give you a few seconds to write, because I'm going to go ahead and do this for the camera again. So when I was trying in my mind to be the seagull, and you guys write while I talk, in my mind, I'm smooth and I'm just moving around, and I've got that beautiful seagull and the wind, and I can hear the ocean, and I try to move like a jackhammer, but my jackhammer is like trying to fly and trying to float because I'm not able to make my body do something, whoops, that's completely different from what's in my brain. Okay, Krista says her arms felt really heavy. All right, so you're trying to be the seagull, but thinking about the jackhammer. No, you were B. You were the jackhammer. So you're a jackhammer trying to be like a seagull, but you were weighed down. You were weighed down with your arms being heavy. Okay, I got to get my right groups. Anybody else? What happened? How did you feel? So if your arms felt heavy, did you feel like a jackhammer? Did you feel like a seagull? Or was there some confusion? For me, there's this confusion. There's this cognitive dissonance where there's like two different things competing for my attention at the same time. I'm trying to hold the image, I'm trying to move, and it's like I'm not doing either of them very well because they're fighting inside my brain. Anybody else? How did you feel? What did it do for you? Now, if you were thinking about a jackhammer and trying to move like the seagull and it worked, you probably weren't thinking about the jackhammer strongly enough, or vice versa. Krista said, I couldn't be the seagull because my arms wouldn't lift up. Oh, there you go. So you had this restriction from what your thought pattern was that kept you from doing what your body was trying to do. So hopefully it was successful for all of you. This one is really fun in a huge group of people where you have half the group being one and half the group being other, and you all get to watch each other doing these crazy motions that don't make sense. But what it shows us is that it is almost impossible to perform counter to the images that are in our minds, right? Our behavioral change is so much easier if it's preceded or accompanied by changes in our self-image, in our thought patterns. So that kind of hurts, for me anyway, because that just hits home with me with what I'm working on with my health, right? So I have all this inflammation in my body. It's caused by my food choices, but food is so delicious. I love to eat, the texture, the flavors, the smells. Sorry. Okay, I'm digressing. So it's uncomfortable for me to think about changing my eating habits and my exercise. And in my mind, my self-image, my self-concept is someone who's unhealthy. I have these health problems, someone who's overweight and struggled with weight most of my life. If those are my self-concepts, then it's going to be very hard for me to become healthy. And I've lived that several times over my life. I mean, I've lost 50 pounds at least 3 times in my life, kept it off for over a year, and then gained it back. So it's because, and we'll talk about this another time, we hit this ceiling where we kind of have a thermostat set, and we just can't seem to go past that because it's uncomfortable for us. So here's a quote from Jack Canfield that I really like. Every image or picture which we hold in our mind creates a physical reaction in our body and thereby affects our experience and our behavior. The body literally cannot move contrary to a vividly and consistently held image. That's key. Vividly and consistently held image. Therefore, in order to change a habit or behavior, we must change our self-image to include the new habit or behavior. Otherwise, any changes we make will be difficult and most likely short-lived. Yikes, right? So when I lose that weight, when I get healthy, there's still this picture in my mind that's different from what has happened. And so if we're holding this subconscious image that doesn't match where we want to be, it's almost impossible to get there, or if we get there, to stay there. So when we get that image and that intention lined up, it is powerful and effective. Yeah, Jody, it is deep and it's real. And that's where I get frustrated with myself because I know this stuff, right? I know that the more I visualize, the more that it's going to become my reality. So I know I need to spend more time visualizing what I want to be. That's what our vision boards are all about. That's what our affirmations are all about. And you think about things like writing a chapter in a book. That wasn't something I'd ever thought about, but once I decided I was going to and focused on it, it happened. Same thing with bending a fork or bending a spoon. Once I visualized that I could do it, it happened. Last week, we grew our hands longer. The week before that, we extended our arm reach just by the power of our thoughts and our beliefs. So we can do just about anything that we put our minds to because we have so much power in our thoughts. So how do we change our thoughts to overcome our limiting beliefs? We all know there are so many ways. The thing is, they take action, they take repetition. And if we repeat it, and then we stop, then that reality can kind of fade away. And so it's really important that we're taking our action, we're getting out of our comfort zones, and we move to that zone of excellence where we are the best that we can be. So tonight, I wanted to start just by talking lightly about affirmations. So I know all of you probably have done affirmations before, but just think about what we just did. Whether you were a jackhammer or a seagull, you had worked really hard on affirming that you were either a jackhammer or a seagull, but as soon as your mind went away from that, as soon as you weren't affirming it, there became that cognitive dissonance and things began to change. So, affirmations are positive statements. They're just positive statements, and we've already spent a lot of time talking about positivity and how important it is. But these positive statements actually declare our desired goals as if they already are. So again, some of you may have done them before. I've done many of them. I've had success with many of them, and then I kind of fade off and get busy with other things. But what's so cool is that when we declare something as if it already is, it causes that cognitive dissonance, and it helps to motivate us because we're like, well, if I'm saying this about myself, then I need to be what I'm saying I am. And the really cool thing is when you look at the law of attraction, it also signals to the universe that you're ready for what you've already got out there, right? My health is there. My weight loss is there. Those things are there. I just have to focus on the fact that they are, because when I have that thought, then my actions are going to come into place. Yes, positive I statements, Jody. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, and just like we've also talked before, that visualization, that visualization is so important to make it actually come. So I'm curious if you have an affirmation that you use on a regular basis that you'd be willing to share, or if you don't, I'll give you an easy one to use that works for everybody, and then we'll talk about some ways that you can actually create your own. So I'll give you a second to see, do you have any I statements, Jody, that you already use on a regular basis? Do you have affirmations that you use on a regular basis? I think I shared some, one of the I am meditations that I like so much, I shared in an earlier broadcast, which I go to sleep to sometimes, just listening to. I am healthy, I am happy, I am well, I am wonderful, I am all these great things that I want to be. Oh, Krista, nice and easy to repeat. All is well, all will be well. And that is one that you can just repeat and go into that trance-like state. Fantastic. Okay, so Jody has a list. Fantastic. So Jody has a list that she can go over and look at and pull something out as you need it. I think that's really cool to have a list, and whatever the situation is, you can go and pull one for that. Here's one that I think is a really good one for anybody. No matter what you say or do to me, I'm still a worthwhile person. And you can certainly rewrite that to make it fit your own words, or make the rhythm a little bit different. But, when you're in a situation where you're feeling down, it's like, no matter what you say or do to me, I'm still a worthwhile person. It's so easy for us to accept those lies and create that limiting belief within us. Looking to see if anybody else added anything. So so maybe try saying that one out loud. No matter what you say or do to me, I'm still a worthwhile person. If you want something more personal, you can go back to that wheel of life or those topics that we had earlier. And here's a sentence starter for you that's used by a number of people that I know. Jack Canfield uses this one a lot as well. I am so happy and grateful, because we know that gratitude is so powerful. Okay, I'm seeing some comments coming in a little bit late. Okay, so I am so happy and grateful. I am so happy and grateful now. So what? So when I'm thinking about, my health, I could say something like, I'm so happy and grateful that I now am at my ideal weight. I'm so happy and grateful that I now automatically choose healthy food. I'm so happy and grateful now that I exercise every day because I enjoy it. Right? So you can create these affirmations, and that joy and that gratefulness helps to take it farther, as does the visualization, as does the repetition. And the research shows that if you actually share your affirmations or your goals or your dreams, that it actually gives it more power. So, Jody, I'm happy and grateful that I now have a great medical team. All right. So that's something where maybe you have limiting beliefs even about how the quality of your doctors are going to be, and somehow you draw to you someone who's not so qualified. So let's get those qualified doctors in. And then we'll be talking later about how do we do these things, right? We're going to bring those affirmations in, but we also want to be able to take steps and actions toward them. And sometimes it's not easy to think of at first, but we'll be able to think of ways to actually do it. So visualize it, repeat it, believe it, share it, and then live it. All right, now I'm going to challenge some of you because I know some of you are advanced out there. So I'm going to challenge you that if you already have a number of affirmations that you use on a regular basis based on your goals, I'm going to ask you to go a little bit deeper. And this could be a whole nother session, but I'm just going to touch on it tonight and encourage you. I like that. I now believe I am living my best life. Fantastic. I'm going to encourage you that if you already have a number of affirmations and you already have some pretty solid goals set and you're living in flow on a pretty regular basis, I'm going to challenge you to think of a breakthrough goal. So the affirmations will be built off of this goal. But what's a breakthrough goal? A breakthrough goal is one thing. If this one thing could change in your life, it would quantum leap you to the next level. I don't mean little baby steps. I mean quantum leap, change everything, take you to your best life. So if you could have one single goal in your career, in your lifestyle, in your relationships, and again, this isn't something that you might be able to come up with immediately. For some of you, it might pop into your head. But again, I want to challenge you. What is one thing that if it changed in your life, whether you believe it could happen or not, it's not important. What is one thing that if it could happen in your life would change everything and take you levels above where you are now? It could be changing your job. It could be winning some sort of award. It could be writing a book. It could be getting on Oprah. You know, people have all sorts of different dreams of things they want to do. So think about a breakthrough goal, something that would change your life completely. Dream it. And if you're willing over the next week to write down that goal that could change your whole life, and then create an affirmation that goes with that. I'm so happy and grateful that I now, and it could be living my best life, right? But make some affirmations to go with that goal. Even if you don't believe you can achieve it at this moment, think about when your arm went farther than you thought it was going to be able to go. Think about when your crazy hand grew and then went back down. The spoon, the book, right? So really want to challenge you, those of you that are a little more advanced or just a little more adventurous, to think about what could change your life completely. What one thing. I'm working on that one myself, trying to figure out what one thing could really do that for me. So lots of homework for tonight. Come up with some affirmations, practice them, because the origins of our limiting beliefs can come from many different places, but the origins are really in our mind, and we want to rewire our mind. We want to change those connections to get rid of those lies, those false beliefs, those limiting beliefs, and show ourselves what we can actually do. And rewiring helps us do that. Let me see if I've got any more comments. No, nothing else right now. All right, so any more thoughts? If anybody has a breakthrough goal already in mind, I'd love to hear that in the chat box. I know for me, I'm still meditating on it, because what I've thought was a breakthrough goal in the past didn't really take me where I thought it would. And so I was like, I want to dig a little bit deeper. If this one thing changed, it would just up level me so powerfully and so quickly. And even if I'm not ready to go there, what am I happy and grateful for? I've really been focusing on my gratitudes lately, because by being grateful for what you have, it helps you to attract more of what you want. And I know so often that engineering brain I have is looking at what could be better and what could be changed and what could be different, and I have to stop and be grateful for the things I already have. Not that there's anything wrong with making them better. All right, so before we go tonight, great. Being the absolute presence of peace, love, and joy. Yes, yes. All right, so a breakthrough goal. If you are the absolute presence of peace, love, and joy, wow, how would that change things? What would be different? So think about that, focus on that, and share if you're willing to a little bit more next week. All right, I hope you had fun being a jackhammer or being a seagull. I hope that simple activity really brought it home how what we're thinking impacts what we're doing. And you probably had trouble thinking while you were doing the opposite thing. So what we're doing is also impacting what we're thinking. And we want to get rid of that cognitive dissonance. We want to bring it all together in our bodies, in our minds, in the universe, so that we are drawing in the things that we really want, that we deserve, that we know we can be. And I just appreciate you guys so much for being on the broadcast. I appreciate your support. I appreciate your sharing. It means so much to see what you've added. If you are watching this broadcast in the replay, please go ahead and interact in the chat box so that we can hear from you, what your experiences are. And those of you that are on live, if you ever want to go back and add things as well, please feel free to do that as well. Whew, thank you, Jody. Jody just put the website in. I do want to encourage you to share this with other people. I've not yet decided exactly what I'm going to do for the summer, but I will keep you posted. I'm having so much fun with the limiting beliefs that it's going to be hard for me to stop. So thank you so much for walking together with me as we are finding ways to overcome our limiting beliefs. Antoinette, thank you so much for being here. It means so much. You're in a totally different time zone, and working out your work schedule to join us means a lot. It means so much to me for all of you to be here. Thank you so much. I'm going to say goodbye and send you all love and light. Have a great night. Bye, everybody.